You don't book a session with me when things are calm. You book a session with me when you are on the floor at 2 a.m. Googling why I hate my job. Your body always tells you when it's time, but we have learned and been taught to ignore the signals. Clients often come in after a full crash where they realize they hate their life, they hate their job, they hate their clients, they hate their bosses, like nothing works. Or they realize they don't recognize themselves anymore, screaming and being triggered over little things like screaming at the child for spilled milk or screaming at the child for losing one sock, or being especially emotional over little things like playing computer game and then they lost and they cried. They know it's not logical. They know that that's not normal. We override our intuition until it shouts or when it screams. The moment people say, I don't recognize who I am anymore, that's when the shift begins. It often starts with insomnia, numbness, anxiety. These are often pre-session symptoms. We downplay it to stress until we're really starting to feel burnt out and break down. Break down emotionally, not wanting to get out of bed, just being tired of facing people, not wanting to go to school, not wanting to go to work, not wanting to show up for social events, just generally not wanting to get out of bed. And yet it gets worse because there's this whole list of to-do lists, being in the gym, preparing for the meeting, being there for your yoga classes, being there to do your groceries, to eat better and eat well. You have all this to-do list and the guilt when you don't feel like getting up to do it. You get even more angry and regretful and blame yourself for not doing better and not wanting to do all these things that will make you feel better. It's just such a conundrum. And often we are asked to be strong because culturally it expects of us to show up. Even when we are not feeling good and not feeling well, we have to show up for work, for friends, for family. But often we ignore ourselves. Often we don't do it for ourselves. And this is a message to let you know that meltdown isn't weakness. Meltdown is your body screaming for help. Would you ignore your best friend if they are screaming for help? No, we wouldn't. But who's our best friend but ourselves? Deep energy work clears what self-care and mindset trick can't touch. So what happens during healing is that we go in and clear a lot of grief, traumas, ancestor baggages, things that you're not even aware of, the sub-programmings that's already inside you when you were born. And then when you go through life, there's this triggers that remind you, and your body remembers all this trauma and start reacting to it. Like one example is, if your ancestors were starved to death, there will be that strange or unexplained relationship with food. Like, don't waste food. Eat up everything's on your plate. Eat up even if you're very full and it's going to make you vomit and make you sick. So that's something where you go logically, you shouldn't be doing that. But somehow that imprint is inside you. And the guilt of not having to be able to finish your food is just so heavy in your heart and so guilty that you have no choice but to finish the food even though it made you sick. So there are so many levels of healing that you just will be able to explore and enjoy when we tune in and be able to give you that insight of how is it that you're feeling like that and give you that closure. Instead of trying to journal and have positive mantras, positive affirmation to try and heal yourself or trying to make yourself feel better. Help is here. There's no need to push yourself so hard. Life is not about being hard. Life is an experience. And if you are able to get the support and help is at hand, why not take it up? There's no heroism trying to figure things out yourself. We don't. We are not born to try and figure things out ourselves. That's why we have teachers. That's why we have guides, and that's why we have coaches, and that's why we have mentors. And therefore, When your body asks for help and asks for healing, listen to it. Clients often say their nervous system felt that finally they can relax, they can have that deep breath. Because if you notice that when you're stressed and anxious, you often have very shallow breath and shallow breathing. So finally, they could just easily ease into that deep breath. The deep breath that makes them feel they're here, they're complete, they're whole, and they're not scrambling, they're not scattered, and they feel safe. Clients also often say that this is like going for a deep massage where it can be painful sometimes when you get to hear all these things about what your soul is sharing about the stresses that you've been giving your soul, the unnecessary triggers, or the baggages that you've been carrying from your parents or from your ancestors or from different past lives. It's like massaging, pushing them out so everything can be restored, realigned, and recalibrated. Realignment brings so much emotional softness and sleep and joy back to life. And I've often shared this, like clients after the session, they go to the mirror and they take a look at themselves and they go, oh my God, I look different. Oh my God, my eyes are so much more gentle. And that's because they look upon themselves with so much gentleness. They don't blame themselves for not being able to wake up at 5 a.m. to do journaling or meditation. They learn to love and appreciate what energy, what suffering, or what pain they were able to overcome to get them to the healing. So if the whisper for change is getting louder, you're not imagining it. Your breakdown might just be your breakthrough, and it's not hard to recognize it, but it takes courage to acknowledge it. There's no shame in your breakdown or in your meltdown. It's your body talking to you. Energy doesn't lie. It's just waiting to be heard. So share this with someone who keeps saying that they're fine, but obviously and clearly they are not.